Of Lock. And the big story over the weekend is the Avalanche didn't do too much in terms of trading. I mean, obviously they made their deals, but everybody was focused on the Claude Giroux situation, and the Avs lost out. We kind of thought it was heading towards Florida, and then it was official. So the Avs lose out on Claude Giroux. Is it that big of a deal? And will the Avalanche make a move here on deadline day? Kyle and I will discuss it all. All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. And today's episode brought to you by BetOnline. As you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before, it's betonline.net where the game starts. All right, Kyle. So we got a lot to get to, a lot of trades happening, none involving the Avalanche. Yes, they have made their moves. We know that. But everybody was looking towards Claude Giroux and what was going to happen with the Avs. Was he going to find his way to Denver? Didn't turn out to be the case, kind of what we thought. But there was a lot of other moves made at the Avalanche we're not involved in. So it is deadline day. Are the Avs done, or does Joe Sakic have a plan B? We'll talk about that, and we'll get to the Avs game tonight versus the Edmonton Oilers. First time this year that the two superstars are going to go head-to-head, and that's always news. But first things first, follow the show. Social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show over on our YouTube channel where we are live. Follow the show and get notified when a new show is up and ready for your viewing pleasure. All right, sir. Yeah, we're going to start with Claude Giroux because that's the big news. And it kind of doesn't involve the Avalanche because he didn't go there. But they were heavily involved. And all accounts say that, they were in it to the bitter end. And it just seems like he never really wanted to fully invest in going to Colorado. It does seem like Florida was the destination all along, and that's what they facilitated, and that's where he is. Do you feel like this is Avs missed out on one, or we're happy with what we got?
Well, that's fine, Claude. Don't choose us. Your beard's stupid, and I never liked the Flyers anyway.
It's not like this beard.
Not like that one at all. Yeah, it would have been nice. Claude Giroux, it would have been nice to have some of that veteran talent, on that second or third line. He's been around the block. He just had his 1,000th game in Philly. That would have been great. But points wise, it's not there. This is not the Claude Giroux we all know.
Well, I mean, and you got to take that with a grain of salt. He's on Philly, who's horrible, and the points he's putting up for that team, I'm impressed with that, and that's just one of those things where it's whether he went to Colorado or Florida, I think you're going to see his numbers improve because he's going to a better team. I don't even want to say improve that he's having a bad season. It's just that you will see kind of like a more productive Claude Giroux because he's on a more productive team no matter where he went.
Yeah, I get that, but also you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it's not like you're getting your right off an ELC talent. You're not getting around the league for a little bit. Claude's been around for a while. He's seen superstars come and go. Would he be willing to, especially towards the end of that trade, it sounded like he just wanted to go to Florida, and he was really picky and choosy and didn't like where this line sounded. And you heard all these little blurbs coming out from Claude Giroux. Is that the kind of player you really want on Colorado? This is a very selfless team. Everybody kind of gets along with everybody. You don't want somebody coming in saying, hey, put me on first power play, no lower the second line. You don't that's great. You did all that in Philly, but look at what we're building here in Denver. We know what we're doing. Just could he follow along with Sakic and Bednar? That's the big question.
I don't know. I mean, that's maybe something that came into play. coaching styles and things like that. I don't know. And we did hear a report that he, didn't like the idea that he might not be on the top power play with the Avs. I don't think that was the end all be all as why he didn't want to come here. But for me, it kind of just rubs me the wrong way. Not because it's Giroux. It's just you feel like over the past several seasons, the Avs have been in on so many players, whether it's trades or free agents, and they just can't seem to land one of these guys. And it was with Panarin, Artemi Panarin, and him and Nathan MacKinnon are close. MacKinnon was fighting hard for him, and to the point where he thought he had him coming to Colorado, but Panarin wanted the spotlight of New York, and that's where he went. Taylor Hall is another one, and I know how people think of Taylor Hall right now, and the Avs went after him on 2 trade deadlines. Joe Sakic wanted him bad, and he couldn't land him. And some of it is out of his control, like trades. Like Giroux says he doesn't want to come to Colorado. He doesn't want to come to Colorado. Nothing you can do about that. But just the fact that he doesn't want to go to a team that is just setting the pace for the season this year. It kind of just like, what's wrong with Colorado? Why are we so good? I like the fact that pretty much everything we've built here is in-house. They made the trade for your boy and Kadri and stuff like that. They've made deals, but to land that headline grabbing name, it's eluded them. They're still doing okay without that, but those are the things that can just put them over the edge, and it doesn't seem to be coming to Colorado, and I don't know why.
And and it's not like we were asking Giroux to make a commitment here. Like, he's practically a rental. So it's not like we were saying, hey, come here and help us shape the franchise for the next 4 or 5 years to come. Like, just we were asking him, come in here and help us win a cup. And he's like, no, I'm going to Sunshine, Florida. And exactly right here to Hop's point, I think, and Chris, you mentioned it when it comes to in talent. Like, if Giroux chooses not to play with the Avalanche, I hope the Avalanche use this as bulletin board material for the rest of the year. When we go to the Stanley Cup, like, nobody wanted, like, we asked, we tried, and nobody wanted to come in here. None of the big dogs want to come in here. Win it all, win this league, back-to-back President's trophies, and make this a team people want to come to, and we could just say, no, we're good.
I get that, and I agree with that, but what the heck is the Florida Panthers won?
Sunshine.
Nothing. Yeah, that's it. And a tax-free state is what they, you know what I mean? So, and Mario, I put that up there too. How impactful do you think the training facility issue and we discussed that earlier?
Yeah.
It doesn't come into play right now because that's not built. But if he signs there after this year, then maybe that plays a role.
Yeah.
It plays a role, and we don't know. So we're going to have to hold off on answering that in full until next offseason. And if he stays there, they're going to have a state-of-the-art training facility. We have talked about that in the past.
Yeah.
And the Avs training facility we know is a little bit lacking compared to some of the other high-tech ones. I don't know. There's so many different things that could be into play here right now. Is that one of them? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get big name players to come in here and practice Chuck E. Cheese, but like, I think that adds to the Avalanche character. Like, this team's got swagger, and this kind of is like the D1 Mighty Ducks Avalanche. Like, we're kind of pieced together, and we're making it through. And I think this is the way we beat that team in the finals, with that little bit of grit.
Yeah, we'll see. And even Hop says the disrespect that Colorado Avalanche fans feel just league wide, and even in the media. He points out ESPN. And there were times like when the Avs were playing the Rangers, it seemed like it was a home game for the Rangers as far as the announcers. And that's an original 6 team going up against, an expansion club. In the eyes of the media, that's always going to lean towards the original 6 team. It just is. And I've just kind of like come to terms with that. It doesn't bother me all that much. And the way you get back at that is go win cups.
Yeah.
Go win cups. And I always liken it to the Golden State Warriors. Nobody pays attention to the Golden State Warriors, but what they've done over the past 6-7 seasons now, and being that highlight reel team, that gets eyes on your team. And now all of a sudden they get more coverage than, the Los Angeles Lakers. They can be that team. The Avalanche can be that team in the hockey world.
Yeah, and the Avalanche get disrespected. Like when it comes to this game tonight, anytime there's a commercial for it, it's Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers versus the Avalanche and Nathan MacKinnon. It's always somebody else leading it, and then the Avalanche with Nathan MacKinnon.
Right. And we'll get to that game a little bit later. But more to get to because, Monday it's trade deadline day. So do the Avs have something up their sleeve or do they stand pat? But first, we're going to talk about our newest sponsor, and that is Athletic Greens. Kyle and I have been religiously taking this stuff for about 2 weeks now. I don't know about you, man, but I got to say, it is impressive stuff.
It is. It's good, and I feel really, really good.
Honestly, you would look at it and it's like this green. You think it's just going to taste like grass because it's so green, but no, it actually tastes like fruit juice, and it's really good for you. And with 1 scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients to support your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your focus, your aging, everything that you need. And it started as the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues, and he ended up on a complicated supplement routine to recover. It cost him over $100 a day. So he created Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create an optimal nutrition routine on your own. It costs you less than $3 a day. And if you're investing in your health, it's cheaper than your cold brew and coffee habit. It's cheaper than getting all of your different supplements yourself. And you're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day, and that is it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs for your first purchase. And all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Once again, athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right. Trade deadline day. It's coming to a head here, kind of one of my favorite times of the year. We're happy with what the Avalanche have done so far. And, in typical Joe Sakic fashion, how he kind of gets ahead of the game and things like the deals he made, especially for Manson. If that deal was made 2 days later, it maybe took on a different tone because he didn't have to give up all that much to get Josh Manson. And some of the trades you see going around, first round picks are flying off the shelves. A lot of prospects are flying off the shelves. So having said that, do the Avalanche make some sort of plan B deal here, or do they not, for one of 2 reasons? Because they don't need to and they're happy with what they have, or because now the market really has spoken and it might be a little bit too rich for their blood and they don't really want to give up everything like all these other teams were giving up.
I'm going to make a case for Joe Sakic sitting on his hands.
Yeah.
And I will tell you why. If you look at the list of trades that happened yesterday, and we could say, last week, who is making a majority of these trades? Eastern Conference.
Yeah, the East seemed to be a little bit more active than the West in inheriting players, yeah.
Look behind us in the standings. The Blues aren't getting better. The Wild, other than Delorier, aren't really getting better.
Don't do anything, right?
Like Vegas is going the other way. Vancouver kind of improving, but honestly, they're not going to make up all that ground. The West is practically the same. So if you're wanting to get to the playoffs and win your division, staying on this same trajectory, doing what you have been doing all season long, you should accomplish that goal.
That's not the goal, though.
No.
You know what I mean?
And with the East also kind of going topsy-turvy with all these trades, and Giroux now with the Panthers leading the East, do you not think it's almost like I'm an Alabama boy? How you draw comparisons? This is kind of like the SEC. Do you not cannibalize themselves when it comes to the playoffs? And whoever represents the East in the Stanley Cup, I think that's going to be a broken team. You're going to see a lot of 6 and 7 game series all throughout that Eastern playoffs. And when you get to the Stanley Cup, it's whoever's left. And then a Avalanche team that had to do 4 or 5 game, maybe a 6 game series to get there.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, the East is going to beat themselves up. And, you know, I'm not saying the Avs have an easy road. You do have teams like Calgary in the mix, which is going to be a tough fight. But if the Avs are lucky enough to make it to the Cup final, whoever they play is gonna have gone through the ringer multiple times, not in just one round. So yeah, I mean, you are making moves looking ahead. Are they sitting pretty in the Western? Of course. Do they not make moves because of that? I don't know. I still think they'll have the mindset of, we're going to make moves that best suit this team. If we feel like a move would improve us, we'll do it, because we're going to need this for the playoffs and a playoff run. Where's Mario? Mario had put up, you think Sakic makes a move for Kopp despite his injuries? I think that's where they're looking right now. I do. I think that was maybe, if they couldn't get Giroux, maybe look towards Kopp. Does it happen? I don't know. It really depends on what they want in return. And the rumor was, and maybe we'll never know this, because once a deal falls through, you don't really get who the main players were. But it's rumored that Justin Barron was out there for the Flyers. And it is also rumored that the Avalanche had the better package to send to the Flyers, but they were honoring his wishes of going to Florida. And when you look at what they got for him, I have no doubt what the Avs could have offered was better.
Yeah.
You know, and the Panthers are going to be struggling. They have no first round picks for the next 3 years. They just gave up one for the Ben Sherratt deal, and for next year, which is why the one going to the Flyers is 2 years from now. So you could have had next year's first round pick in the Avalanche. So that is still in play. I think if the Avs do make a deal, your first round pick is gone, so you're not going to have first round picks for the next 2 years. Okay. If the end result is a Stanley Cup championship, I think we're all fine with that. But I think, you know, it's who. I don't know if the Avalanche would have given up someone like Justin Barron to anybody other than Claude Giroux.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening. But are prospects going to have to be given up? I don't think there's a question about that.
And honestly, with Giroux off the table, all these other moves are really not going to be your splash moves. Like, these aren't super headline moves. Like, if they do go for Kopp, this is going to be just like, it's going to be a notification on your phone, but not a lot of people are going to be going crazy over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a top headline move. No, but it is for the Avs. That would be a solid move. But I don't think, I mean, Giordano went to Toronto. That's a headline grabbing move. Not that he's kind of on the downside of his career, but he's a name. Marc-Andre Fleury, I don't think he's going anywhere. It was interesting that Minnesota was looking at him, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So he's not going anywhere. Yeah, I mean, Giroux was it. Giroux was the big fish. There could be another guy out there that we're not even talking about that it happens on trade deadline day. We'll just have to wait and see. But right now, yeah, I think you're looking at kind of like those, I don't want to say second tier players, like Kopp's. He's in that area, but he would be a great addition for the Avs. A great addition.
Like if the Avalanche would have ended up, like, I know Dermott was in on that Giordano deal. Like, that would have been a nice pickup. Like Hamonic, like, yeah, there's more defense. I get that, but like, you're just honestly filling little pieces here and there. This isn't a world-changing move. So with whatever the Avalanche do, and if they do make a move, I don't think there's going to be a lot of complaints from Avalanche fans, because you already seen with these 2 trades we've already made that they don't blow you away, but when they hit the ice, they completely change. Like they change your mind, and you're like, I'm a Manson fan right now. So with whatever Sakic does, I kind of have that trust that he knows what he's doing, but I don't think we're going to be like taking the NHL by storm.
No, well, who else? I'm trying to think of, who do I have? Cop would be good. Lankinen seems to, I don't know what they plan on doing. I feel like things have lightened up a little bit for Lankinen. I'm still on Chychrun. I will be until he gets moved. I don't know if that happens. And Hop is asking if we want to weigh in on Justin Barron. You know where I would move Justin Barron is for Chychrun. I would do that. I think Justin Barron is going to be an excellent player. And if it wasn't for injuries, probably would have been a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
But he had some injuries and teams were afraid of that. And the Avs pounced on him. And I think once he makes it, he's going to be an excellent defenseman. Hopefully for the Avs, I'm fine with that if he's with the Avs. But again, I'm just big on Chychrun. So if they can get him for that, that's the only place I would move him.
Yeah.
Is for a deal for Chychrun.
Yeah, and Justin Barron, I would put him on that level with Bo Byram with the injuries and the talent. Like, both are there, and you have to kind of weigh it out. But, like, Barron will be incredible. To move him for Chychrun, we'll have to see. But
I don't know. I would do it. I'd do it.
I would. I also agree with that. I also agree that people are blocking. Yes.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it.
They are blocking Joe Sakic's number. They're like, this guy has fleeced us for so many years. It's not happening again.
Yeah. All right. Some more to get to and talking about the Edmonton game. But first, betonline.net. How's your bracket doing?
My Final Four is still alive.
Yeah, mine is too. I think I only have like half of the Sweet 16. But half of the half is my 4 teams are still in it, believe it or not. And that's what you want. But it is that time of year again. It's for college basketball's big tournament. It is finally upon us from all the latest odds, contests, and players' props. BetOnline.net is the #1 source for all of your betting needs and info. It remains the best spot for your sports scores, podcasts, and news for this season. And it's not just college basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and all of the action. That is betonline.net, where the game starts. And brought to you by Built Bar. You know it. You love it. And have you tried the Built Bar Puffs yet? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. They are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow protein bar. They're fluffy, marshmallowy, and they're not just a protein bar. They are a treat and covered in 100% real chocolate. So they are low calorie, high protein, and you can replace your candy bar with these because they're better than a typical candy bar, which can have anywhere from 200 to 300 calories, where Built Bars have 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. So go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your order. Once again, the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com.
Hit James's comment right there.
Right on the bottom there. You know who we should get? Landeskog, Chara, and Byram. That would be nice.
It's honestly, with the past 2 games, you kind of forget. But yeah, they're just recouping. Like,
do you think that is it interesting that they haven't really made a decision on Landeskog yet and LTIR?
I think that's conditional with what they were thinking about the trade.
I do. I think if they were going to bring in, and that could still happen, maybe that's why they're not doing it. Because I don't know, man. I mean, you could, if you put them on there and then you make moves that put you over the cap, you're hamstrung. You can't do anything about it. So if they leave him off and they have the team that they have, and you're not over the limit, even with him just being on, an injured reserve, I think they just let it ride out, because if he can come back, kind of like the same thing with Girard. If Girard can, after they made the Manson move, I'm like, they're not putting Girard on LTIR. Because number one, he was going to be back long before the season. I say long before, 2 weeks before the season ended, and that will give him time to get acclimated with him and Manson on the same line, which Jared Bednar says he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
The same could be true for Landeskog. If you don't make any moves that you want to make, there's no reason to put him on LTIR, then you don't do it. And if he can come back, even if it's for 2 games at the end of the regular season, you do that so he gets back into kind of some game flow, and then he's ready for the playoffs as well. And you're not starting him round 1, game 1. I get both sides of it, but yeah, if the Avs do make a deal by trade the deadline day, the time, you could still see that happen. And Bowen Byram, still up in the air what's going on with him.
Yeah, it'll be one of those, if they finally find a move to make, a big move, they'll be the trade will happen and LTIR on both, but if not, they'll be back. They'll be fine.
Yeah. And Hop asks, is Barron really on the level of Byram? I'm not going there yet, but he's got all the potential to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly made that because he's very talented. I wouldn't say to Byram level talent, but he also has the injury history like Byram does that you have to juggle.
And it's head injuries too for Justin Barron. It is concussion issues, so it's kind of similar to that. But you can't, we've seen what Byram can do on the pro level. We haven't seen that yet in Justin Barron. So it's really kind of just guesstimating, and the possibilities are there that he could be. Yes. Yeah. All right. First game against Edmonton, Monday night. Always a big deal when these two teams get together because you have 2 of the best players on the planet going against each other. And I kind of maybe unfairly always kind of pit these two teams together and see how the Avalanche do against Edmonton. I know that's not fair because Edmonton's not blowing the league up, but they are playing much better as of late. I just see it as like, I feel like we're always chasing Edmonton in terms of media coverage, in terms of our guy is just as good as your guy. And it never gets portrayed as that. So I always want to see, especially Nathan MacKinnon, go for a 4 or 5 point game against Edmonton while they shut McDavid down. And just for like a day, I can feel good about that. But it's so hard to do because, he's going to have 3 points, McDavid. He's going to be in that realm every single game, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
And you also want to watch, for those OG Avs fans, you want to see Cale Makar versus Tyson Barrie.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Tyson Barrie is so far like in the recesses of my mind. Like he was
such a crutch for so long, him and EJ, and you really want to see Cale Makar just dancing all over Tyson Barrie.
Yeah, I know.
And for Nathan MacKinnon to have like a hat trick, an additional goal, 4 additional assists, no penalty minutes. Like, you want him to go off because for some reason Edmonton, they have nicer facilities too. So everything Edmonton does always seems to be better. And it's like, we're always competing with them, and there should be really no reason, even when it comes to awards. And
I know you're right. Yeah.
You always want the Avalanche to best them in any competition that there is, because no matter what happens at the end of the day, Edmonton always wins.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're kind of feeling like Cale Makar is kind of taking that mantle away from Nathan MacKinnon in terms of like notoriety across the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's part of the position that he's playing. Like, what he's doing at that position is going to get noticed. If you're someone like Nathan MacKinnon, you have to do what Connor McDavid is doing and then some to get noticed, or to get noticed more. It's not like he doesn't get noticed, but so you're just always fighting that battle with him in terms of, media coverage, even though our team is head and shoulders above them.
Mm-hmm.
You get look at all the players on the Avs, and it's always, we have all this talent, and Edmonton has Draisaitl and McDavid, and look what they're doing. It's like, God, like, can we get anything like this? It's always got to be that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like we're always little brothers to Edmonton, and there's no reason to be. We're always competing, and we're like Bizarro. It's like 2 stacked teams with stacked rosters with goalies that everybody's passed over and are winning games commandingly. Like, it's the narrative between the 2 teams is just funny.
But Edmonton's on a roll right now. They've had an up and down season. They were hot early in the year. in the season, I should say, not in the years, in the calendar year, the NHL season. They were on fire to start the season, had a horrible just mid-season collapse, but they've come out of it, and they're winners of their last 5, and they've scored no less than 4 goals in those 5 games. And that was twice. So 4 against the Capitals, 4 against the Lightning, 7 against the Red Wings, 6 against the Sabres, 6 against the Devils. Okay, I mean, you're playing the Red Wings, the Sabres, and the Devils, and you've scored 7, 6, and 6 on them. I get it, but you still need to perform, and they're doing it. So I think they're back into a playoff spot right now, aren't they?
I think so. And that last game against the Devils, they put 4 of those in the third period. So
yeah, wow. I'm checking the standings now because I'm almost positive they have they're in 3rd in the Pacific, so they're above a wild card. 3rd in the Pacific. They're 2 points behind the Kings with 2 games in hand on the Kings for 2nd place. So they're on a roll. And it's just one of those teams that the Avalanche kind of struggle with from time to time.
Yeah.
So this is not going to be an easy game. And it's always fun when McDavid comes to town to get matched up with McKinnon, and we'll see how this thing goes.
Yeah, this is going to be a heavyweight fight. This is hockey fans' hockey game right here. Like, there is nothing about matchups, history between the two teams, like former players. Like, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this will be fun. So we'll be talking about it tomorrow. It's going to be a busy show tomorrow because obviously we got this game to talk about, and the trade deadline will have passed in full. So if the Avs do make any final day moves, we will be discussing them here. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I could see it going either way. I could see them being happy with the moves that they made to give them some depth. Here's Jason Smith. Yeah, he's talking about last year's deadline. That was, when you look back on it, was not a good deadline. At the time, we were okay with the moves. They were nothing major, more like Joe Sakic type moves. But they did not pan out to be good at all. And they don't want a repeat of that. I don't think it's going to be after the 2 moves that they've made so far. But do they make one more, or are they happy with Sturm and Manson and that's it? I don't know.
It's going to be rough. Like, you honestly wish you could have this Edmonton game with 1 day before the deadline, because this is one of those games you figure things out. Like, you're going to let the deadline pass, and then you play Edmonton and get exposed, and you're like, we should have got insert name here.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, tomorrow will be a busy show, and definitely join us. We will be live, obviously, after the game's conclusion to talk about that and any deals that the Avs made. So that'll wrap it up for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in live and all the comments over on YouTube. Those are fantastic. So once again, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. We'll be back tomorrow. Going to be a busy one. Let's hope the Avs make some smart moves. Moves I'm okay with. Want them to be smart at the same time. All right, everybody. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I'm Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.